friends, and welcome back to 155 Books. My name is Shannon and today I'm going to be sharing with you the books I want to read this spring. As you guys know, I'm a big lover of all the different seasons, but I feel like the transition into spring is definitely my favourite, especially after a very miserable winter where we haven't seen a lot of sun. It's really exciting to see all of the flowers coming up, all of the spring bulbs, and I am hoping that this spring it's going to be a lot sunnier, more blue skies, because like I said, winter has been incredibly dull, and I've I think incorporated that into the books I've picked, but without further ado, I'm just going to get into it. So the first book I put on my spring TBR, because spring is kind of like a starting again, renewal, rejuvenation, I've decided I finally want to finish Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. If you've been following this channel for a little while, then you will know that I started this last year, and I'm not even halfway through it. I don't know, maybe struggled with it when I did first start reading it, but I think going back into it to finish it off, I kind of know what to expect, because this one follows a brand new set of characters. I think it took me a little while to sort of warm to them, but this time round, going back into it, I kind of already am familiar with them, so it will be less of a slog, and I think it will just feel good for me to finally have this one finished, so that I've got a currently reading pile that isn't filled with books that have been sat there for over 6 months. And this next book on my list is one that I'm really excited about getting to, and I'm going to listen to it on audiobook, but that is The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. Obviously this is a sort of, I don't know if retelling is the word, of Pride and Prejudice, because it follows Mary, who in Pride and Prejudice I think doesn't get very much of action, I guess. A lot of the other sisters have sort of sideline stories that are going on, whereas Mary is just sort of in the corner reading her book, playing her piano, being very quiet, unsociable, and this is a continuation of Mary's story after Pride and Prejudice. A lot of my favourite booktubers and friends who love Pride and Prejudice have read this and have loved this equally, and have said that it reads like it was written by Jane Austen, which again excites me massively. Obviously Pride and Prejudice is one of my favourite books of all time, and when I read it for the first time, when I finished it, the first thought that came into my head was, is that it? So the fact that this is kind of a continuation just excites me. But because of that, I think I've got really high expectations for this and really don't want to be let down. But all the same, I'm very excited about, like I say, finally picking this one up. The next book on my list is one that I kind of put on as a last minute kind of whim. And I love it when I do that, because they're normally the books I read first from the list and the ones that surprise me. But this season, the book that I've kind of picked for that is Pure Colour by Sheila Heti. Now, I bought this when myself and Shah visited IFA in Berlin. Obviously, this one's been on my radar for quite a while, but I actually know nothing about it. The cover of the book is very striking, and I've seen it in a lot of sort of Instagram posts. I believe it's possibly literary fiction, but like I say, I kind of want to go into this knowing nothing about it, but it's quite short, and I think flicking through it, there's really short chapters and some pages that it's just one paragraph, so I'm hoping to speed through this really quickly. And another thing that got me excited to read this was when I pulled it off my shelf and I saw that it's blurbed by Sally Rooney, and she says, "Exhilarating, it made me want to write." And I mean, that's obviously all I really need to know. The next book I plan to read in spring is a buddy read I'm doing with Amelia from Amelia Barlow Books and Aoife from Pretty Purple Polka Dots. And that is of course spring, because we are continuing our read of Ali Smith's seasonal quartet. I'm halfway through winter as I'm filming this, but I think I'm going to be enjoying them with each book I read, because with autumn I wasn't really sure what to expect but enjoyed it anyway. Going into winter I kind of knew what to expect, and therefore I'm loving it even more, which I don't think Amelia and Aoife would say the same. Obviously I haven't finished winter yet, so I'm not sure, but I'm very excited about spring. Again, I think it's because of what I said at the beginning of this video, in that I feel like the transition into spring is definitely by far my favourite transition from season to season, and I kind of feel like, I don't know, Ali Smith is going to do something very interesting with that in this book. I'm not even joking when I say I hadn't read the blurb before I said that, and I've just peeked at the blurb and I saw the word Shakespeare. So this one is obviously going to be my favourite. But it says, what unites Catherine, Charlie, Shakespeare, Beethoven, Brexit, the present, the past, the north, the south, the east, the west, a man mourning lost times, a woman trapped in modern times. Spring, the great connective. Yes. And that leads very nicely onto the last book I have picked for my spring, or books that I want to read in spring, and it's one I don't actually own yet because I'm still trying to find a copy that matches the rest of the Shakespeare plays I have, but in spring I'm hoping to read Titus Andronicus, as this is the next one in my reread that I'm doing chronologically, and it's the one I'm really excited about reading, because where I am chronologically it's very historical heavy and it's mainly focused on kings. I'm in the bulk of the Henrys at the moment, which I am enjoying, but there's just a lot of them. So it will be nice to sort of like change the pace a little bit. And I've heard that Titus Andronicus is one of the most brutal of his plays, which I'm so ready for because I love the tragedies and that are just messy and horrible and gruesome. So yeah, I'm very excited about reading this one. So those are all of the books that I plan to read this spring. Please let me know in the comments down below which book you want to prioritise in spring, or maybe what genre you like reading in spring, because for me I feel like spring doesn't really have a genre, as you can tell from the books I've picked to read in spring. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye!